I see it in your eyes. Yeah, I can read the signs. You need to get away. It's time we make a change. Oh, you know you'll always have me. Baby, I will always stay with you. So put your trust in me. We'll work it out, you'll see. If we get in a car and drive someplace far, yeah, we could go for a ride. The two of us, we don't have to stop. Baby, let's go for a ride. You and I, let us run away. We can go where we want. I'll have your back if you'll have mine. You and
Hi, I'm Brittany. Welcome to The Bee's Business, or welcome back if you've been here before. On this channel, I'm all about sharing real life with you. That includes content related to motherhood, marriage, teaching, and everything in between. And in today's vlog, I am taking you on a tour of my completed craft room space. I have spent years lightly dreaming about this place, and then in the last 6 months or so, it was a more tangible reality, and so I let my dreaming go a little bit further and I let my imagination spread and explore a little bit more, and I'm very pleased with how the space has turned out. I will link as many items as possible that I purchased for this space in the description box. I am entirely responsible for the design of this location. I'm really proud of the functionality and beauty of this space. I am a believer that a space can be both functional and beautiful. That's what I was aspiring to achieve in this space, and I really feel like I've done a great job, and I'm very excited to share it with you. I would say that I kept things pretty frugal overall as I designed this space. I was very fortunate to hit several clearance deals, and they happened to be perfect items for this space. That was a little bit just luck, but I was happy to capitalize on that luck in order to save myself a few pennies. And with that, let's go ahead and begin the tour. The final scene. Phew, I am feeling so relieved to have this space and to have it organized. Oh my gosh, it feels like a dream. I have wanted a craft space like this for all of my adult life, and it wasn't something that we could make happen until now. Until we added on to our house, gave ourselves a little more room to stretch out and grow. And now this place and this space has come to fruition. I am absolutely amazed at just all of it. I had told myself I wasn't going to film the final tour this evening, but I'm just too excited. It's almost 9 o'clock now, but I just am riding the high of having this space done and organized, and so I'm going to take you around real quick for a final tour of how things are at this time. As I mentioned earlier in this vlog, this is a working space, which means that I will very likely change things up over time, move things around as I see fit, as I start using the space and just figuring out what is working and what is not. So let's just dive in. Let's start here on the feature wall. This is my favorite space. I'm calling it a feature wall even though it is more than just pictures or decor items. It is an actual functional space, but it still feels like a feature wall to me because it is well planned out and everything is symmetrical. And I know I've said the word symmetrical so many times in this video, but it is something that is just bringing me such joy in this space. So, as I've mentioned all along, we have these two shelves. I am loving them. They are fantastic. I have extra space on both of them at this point. Right now down here I am storing my paper items that I've already started to use. So these are partial pieces of paper. I didn't want to keep them in with the paper that was brand new. just to have that separation. I don't know that that's really where I want it to stay, but over here on this shelf where I have all of my other paper related items, it is just not going to fit. It is about 1 inch too wide for this space, and this is a perfect square, so if it's too wide, it's also too tall. So it is not going to fit on these shelves at all, which leaves either a cart or one of these shelves. So right now, that's where it is. I really don't know that it's gonna stay there. Moving on to the next shelf, I just have a couple of books here. I also don't know that those are going to stay there, but that's where they are for now. I have time in my life since I'm on summer break. I'm a teacher, if you don't know, and I would love to get some titles read this summer for pleasure. So these are the ones that I currently am sitting on. I have 2 copies of, oh shoot, what is this one called? 2 copies of the Dictionary of Lost Words because I ordered it, it didn't come. It was many days late, and so I marked it as lost on Amazon. New copy came, and then the old copy ended up showing up. So I am considering gifting one of those. I'm just trying to determine who would be the best recipient. So next to that, I have my little paper cutter, which I would love to invest in a bigger one in time, but for now, that's the one I have, and that's where it's hanging out. And then we hit the 2 shelves where I have lots of these gray baskets. This is my label maker and refills for it. Hot glue gun sticks in the bottom. This is my hot glue gun. This is Eli's. He's been forgetting it on and using it in his room, so that's not stellar, so we're just gonna house it here for now. This is my paper punch bucket. I have other paper punches. I think they're down there in that tote, which I'm just not ready to get into, but they will go there when I find them. This is empty for now. Up here I have note cards, sticky notes, and just some little tabby things. Over here is this little sprocket thing that I showed you earlier that prints pictures. Brandon's in here ruffling about if you hear other noises. What were you just doing?
I was looking for a dry erase marker
for my table. Oh, well, you found one because Brittany is super organized. That's a cool thing about this table. It is not super functional when you consider the grooving, but it is a table you can write on with dry erase marker. So we will see what he is going to leave there on my table for me. So back over here, this is sharp objects. I've got a fabric cutter, which I could also use as a paper cutter, an X-Acto knife, and a couple of other related tools. This is extra scissors. I also have the scissors that I most commonly use hung here for really quick access, but this is where some of my other scissors are, my specific ones related to fabric, as well as this set that I'm not sure I've ever used it, but I received it from someone else's craft supply, I believe. Actually, many of my crafting items in here have come from family members, but we'll get to that. That is my serger, my sewing machine. I feel like these are good items to store on these taller shelves because they're items that if I'm using them for like an extended period of time. So I could just leave them out on the table if I'm not finishing the project in a single day. But I don't take them out all the time, so I think it's great to have them just kind of tucked up there. I had wanted to put my Cricut on that top shelf up there. Unfortunately, as I suspected, it is too long, so that shelf is open at the moment. On the next shelf down, I have my laminator and hole punches, and then we're onto the 2 shelves on this side that have lots of these gray baskets. I have my Waverly chalk paint. I love this chalk paint. I discovered it from a fellow crafter on YouTube, and it's just great. It is really great paint. Over here we have sequins, glitter, also some little, there's a crazy story behind these. Some little, I guess you can just stick your finger in them. What do they call them? Multi-surface chalk ink, but they're really great for just putting your thumb in and then putting a thumbprint on something. These were purchased for my baby shower with Eli. He is now over 10 years old, and these are still wet. So they're a great brand. If you're looking for something like this brand will last you over a decade if stored well. So there's that. That's it in there. Over here I have my Mod Podge, which I use a lot for just a ton of different things. And then some other paint-esque items over here, some tall paints, and then this one is, oh, that is paint. This one is a varnish, and I was using that when I was into painting rocks. So those are taller paints, Mod Podge, and varnish. And then over here are all my smaller paints that I have. Down here is all ribbon and elastic, and this is a little bit crazy, but this is an item that was used, let's focus here. This was used on Brandon's foot. I mean, not the stuff that's inside of it, but this was an extra package that we had, but he had a staph infection in his feet once, and this stuff was used to pack that once it was drained and cleaned out, and we were sent home with some extras, and it's like a ribbon, and so I've kept it thinking I may use it. Anyway, that's a little strange, I'm sure. I have some dental floss in here too, which might be strange to some, but it is so strong, and so it is actually my preferred string if I'm doing something intricate, especially for beaded lizards, which I haven't made since I was a kid, but when I did make them, that was my favorite string to use because it was super durable and strong. Over here we have a little bin of like wooden items. I have some skewers. Can't remember what I used those for once, but for something, so I'm not going to put them back in the kitchen as food skewers at this point because they've been about. And then I have this little collection of different shapes of thin pieces of wood. I honestly can't remember why or when I got these either, but I've had them for a hot minute. We've got some popsicle sticks, just some magnets in here, and then an empty one. These were all of these green lidded bottles were vitamins actually. We purchased the same vitamin brand clearly repeatedly, and so in order to, number one, get some free storage, and number two, still have it match, I kept them for a while and ended up using them in my crafting space. These are just some like flattened pebbly stone things, as well as some different colors of glass on the bottom. I guess it's like sea glass, but I bought it so it's not authentic sea glass that I picked from the sea. In this jar I have a ton of little white bunnies. I was using them for a project once. These are the leftover bunnies. And so anyway, that is where those bunnies are being stored. On this shelf, I have 3 baskets. They're all the same, but 2 are black and 1 is white. Nothing is in them at this point. On the bottom shelf is all of my sewing accessories. So in this container, I have all of my things like zippers and all of my knot yarn. Oh my goodness. This is why I told myself I wasn't going to film this tonight, because I can't even think of the word string anyway, but that still isn't the right word. So all of my string for sewing, thread, all of my thread. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. That was too much. And then just some miscellaneous items. These are some accessories that go to my sewing machine, and just some other items. All of my needles, seam rippers. So anyway, sewing supplies are in there. This is all buttons. That is all buttons. I have gotten a lot of buttons from family over the years, just bulk chunks of buttons. Underneath, I do actually have a couple of cans of paint, as well as a can of spray paint. I would not use the spray paint up here. It would need to be something used outside, but I want it stored in my craft room so that I always know where it is, and it's in a temperature controlled environment, and I can easily get to it when I do want to use it outdoors. And then those other 2 cans of paint are chalk paint. I'm a super big fan of chalk paint, even if I don't plan to actually write on the surface with chalk, because it is just a very durable paint. Onto the center of this room, I don't have much of anything up there. That is my heat gun. That's the only appliance that is up there. And then these smaller baskets are storing mostly different pens. I have some locks in there. I have a pen type that I like there, Papermate pens, colored pencils, scissors. These are some various little like trinkety baskets. I don't know what I want to store in them yet. Dishes and baskets, I should say, or if I want to keep those items there. But for now, I got these two, this one and the other almost matching one on the end over there at IKEA on my recent trip there with my grandmother. I got this in St. Augustine when Brandon and I traveled there last week. I also got this in Florida. I got this in St. Augustine, and again, that was from IKEA. So all those little dishes and baskets were purchased, found with this craft room in mind. And then over on this side, I don't really have a ton of items in here, just some clips, a single hole punch. This is a multi-use tool. I have some other little tool-like items in there, some general pencil, pens, a small ruler, paint brushes. I have some tape, not tape measurers, but things to measure with. Again, not the right term, but that's what my brain's got right now. This is a little wooden box that my father-in-law made for me. He is really a very solid woodworker. He does really great things with wood. And so that is the general space there. In the baskets down here on the table, just some quick grab items that I frequently use. My fine point Sharpies, thick Sharpies, and regular Sharpies, and accessories for the pegboard, and then the trash can that I've mentioned before. And the rest of my dinner / smoothie that I need to finish. Underneath, I have my little stool, which I love because I can put it on any side of this table that I want. I could even have it over here if I was doing something on my iPad and my table was full. It's just a versatile item that takes up almost no space. It does actually fold so that it literally takes up no space. So that's a great feature as well. Underneath, I have my Cricut in its case. Well, on top of my Cricut, I have a little lap desk, and I got another one that I prefer for using actually in bed, but I kept this one, and I think it could be great in my craft space because I could put it on top of this table and have more of like a stand-up option. So I'm gonna hang on to it a little longer, see if I use it, and if not, then we will probably donate it. But underneath that, in that black bag, is my Cricut. This pink item is something that I had when I was really into the Happy Planner and planning on paper. I now plan digitally and prefer that significantly over the paper planning. And then the vast majority of what's in this tote is paper planning related items. So I need to go through that, make some decisions on what I'm going to pass on, what I'm going to keep, but that is not a tonight thing. I can't handle that. Okay, so that is this whole center of the room with the two shelves and the pegboards in the middle and the table area. I have not put a single thing in either of my sets of these bars on either side of the room. I'm excited about that, honestly, because it just means I have room to grow, which is exactly what I wanted in this space. I didn't want to move into it, unpack my items, and feel like I was already busting at the seams. So now I have a really solid idea of exactly what I have for space, and I can appropriately fill it as time goes on, and I purchase, whatever it may be, additional items, and I'll know what my limit is so that I'm not pushing past that and overflowing this space, because I really don't want that to happen. When I feel like a space is too full, too busy, not organized, I don't enjoy the space, and it is not a space where I want to spend any time. So I end up not spending time there and not utilizing the space, and that is not what I want for this space. So let's move on to the bookshelf on this side. Over here I have some more like kind of decorative items on the top, but they actually do also serve a purpose, most of them. This is my pencil collection. I have a vast pencil collection. And here I have a ton of marbles because I had a marble collection as a kid and I'm not really ready to let it go. I don't think I plan on adding to the marble collection, but I'm just not ready to part with it. So I am not going to. And then in here I have some little trinket items. I really love small miniature items, and so I acquire quite a few of them. And it feels really good to just have all of them in one place. And then I have this little date keeper block system thing, and I got this. It was on clearance at Hobby Lobby. Got that at the same time that I got Oh, all of these little magnetic jars and tins, and I enjoy that. And then behind it is a gumball machine that I painted the top and the bottom white. They were all the rage at Target over like probably about a year ago. I could not find a white one, so I purchased a red one and painted it. And I'm going to use it to hold something at the bottom. You can still store items down in there. So I don't know, I'm gonna put something in there. Pom-poms came to mind, but I don't have any pom-poms and I don't really have a need for them right now. But it is open and I know it's available to store items for me. On these two shelves, there is nothing being stored there other than extra organizing materials. So all of these items are empty and they're just here and waiting for whatever I may want to use them for. These are two more of those little magnetic canisters, and I would have stuck them up there. I would have just added another one underneath the others, but this one seems to have an awkwardly weak magnet and it just won't stay up. And then funnily enough, this one came without a magnet at all. So that's a simple thing that I can fix. I can replace the magnet on this and stick a magnet on that. I just haven't even filled all of the ones that are over there yet, so I just haven't taken the time to do it, but I know that they're here and that I could. This is an item that can stick on to any surface and hold whatever you want in there. We have one downstairs next to our family calendar, and it holds all of the wet and dry erase markers for that calendar. And this, it came in a 2-pack, and so I've always held on to it, knowing that I would one day have a craft room. So it is here for my use whenever I would like to use it. Down here is also all empty containers. I would like to mimic that shelf on this side, and I would probably actually put all these items up here so that it mirrors the other side, because that just pleases me. Is it necessary? No, but it makes me happy, so why not? But I need to find a couple more of those containers and a couple more of these, and I think we do have some around here. I just need to locate them. Down here, this is all sorts of tile samples that I have acquired over the years as we've done various house projects, and I kept some of them because I would like to turn them into wall art. More on that later, but it maybe doesn't make sense at the moment, but just tune in for a future video that's titled something about using tile samples and making wall art. Anyway, here is my tech bucket, but not really my like camera or videography tech bucket, just other tech items. And then this is my random bin, because a crafting space like this, it can't be perfect all the time. That's just not realistic, and I don't want to put that pressure on myself. So I just need a little space where I can just toss something and be like, yes, it belongs in this space, but I don't know exactly where I want it or where it should go. So random bucket. Moving on over here. Oh, real quick, I have not really utilized these a ton yet. These are not staying here. I think I'm actually going to hang them in the master bedroom at some point. We used to have them in our bedroom, in our previous master bedroom, before we added this whole master suite to our house, and they're really beautiful and I do enjoy them. Also some glue sticks, also not staying here, but I just don't have a container that I want them in. So these things are just lying about. Nothing else is in this darker gray cart. In this lighter gray cart, I've only utilized the top shelf so far, but I do really like how I have made that all work so far. I just have various types of pens, markers, highlighters, and that sort of thing, as well as dry erase, wet erase, a little bit of crayons back there. All of the items that I could ever want for writing on paper or doing some adult coloring. I do have an adult coloring book, so all of that is organized there, and there's nothing else on those other two shelves. And then this rolling cart, I've already mentioned, is all my camera gear, so I'm not going to spend any more time on that. The backpack next to it is my quick grab camera bag. It holds my drone, my GoPro, and my camera really well as the accessories I need for them when I'm on the go and I don't know which of those items, or if I want to use all of them. It just has everything I need for that purpose. So moving on over here, these two baskets on the bottom, or buckets, are my in progress projects that need my attention, that I've started and haven't finished, or items that have broken and need repair by me. So that is what these two shelves are going to be used for. Moving up here, I have my different mats, both for my Cricut and also just to like cut items on. And then I have in here some shrinky dink stuff. I'm so glad I found that. I don't think they actually call it that anymore, but that's what I know it as. Some stencils, my adult coloring book. These are all cam snaps. When I was cloth diapering, I was using those a lot. I haven't used them a ton since then, but I have them. They're all organized, so there they live. Felt and some foam pieces of paper, foam sheets. Over here, I am trying to organize some of my like miscellaneous flat 2D items. I have a pouch in here that's for stickers. I have a pouch that's for sewing patterns, just some items like that. And then these are some of my rolls of cricketing stuff and just some adhesive type things. So that's that space. Here is all of my paper. I'm not sure if I'm gonna love this system. I'm hoping that I will, but we'll see. I don't have a better way to store my paper right now. This is a common item that I use when I'm crafting, or at least I did in the past. And then I packed up all my crafts and really didn't craft for a while. So we'll see if I use them now, but that's where they all are. And they're just organized in size. And that's the only organizing I did. And over here is lots of little baskets of various things, from rings to not felt, Velcro dots, a project that I did for Colin that I just needed to put it all together. I don't know if or when we will use it again. Hooks and that sort of thing. In here, some of those cam snap tools. This is all little flowers and button type things that I was using when I was making a lot of headbands for Charlie when she was younger. Over here is some other sewing items, pins and pin cushions. I guess that really should go over there. I'll bridge that on a different day. This is all wooden balls and some twine. I did a project with that once and thought, oh, I'm gonna do another one, and I just didn't. But anyway, there it all is. And in this drawer is what? What is that? I can't even tell. Oh, that's my seatbelt straps. I also went through a phase where I really loved having a seatbelt strap for my purses, and so Brandon was able to acquire a couple of seatbelt straps for me from his previous place of employment. So that is how I'm choosing to have this space organized at the moment. Up here, I'm keeping things pretty bare. In this container, I would like to put a faux plant. I would like to have a little bit of greenery in here. I think that that would feel nice, but I don't have any natural light in this space. In here, I have some various hooks that I have been using in my closet to hang my purses, and I'm just housing them all in that little basket. But overall, I'm trying to keep this space cleared off so that I can consistently keep my iPad up there, so that if I'm doing some work at the table, I could be watching a show on my iPad as well. I think that would be a really nice option for me as I am crafting away in this space. And with the iPad up on that shelf like that, I would be able to sit on the side of the table and see the iPad well. Now moving over here to these little magnetic tin canisters, you can see we have various types of clips in each of these. Some little black clothespins in this top one. I found these little magnets, or actually they were gifted to me, and I had two of them, so I put one on this side and one over here on this side. And they're not exactly the same, but they are matching enough for me. I have some paper clips here and nothing in these other three. And there you have it. That is a rundown of all of the items in my craft room space. I'm very pleased, as I've mentioned, with how everything turned out. I feel like I have ample room to be able to add additional items as my crafting desires evolve and mature and change. And that is a really great feeling, knowing that I'm not already maxed out and that I have space to grow. Thank you so much for joining me on today's video as I took you on a tour of my craft room space. I hope that you found motivation in this little mini 2-part series within the House to Home series on my channel to get crafting yourself. Whether you have a large space or a small space, you can make it functional and you can get to crafting and creating. I'm very thankful for this 8x10 space that I have for all of my crafting materials. It hasn't always been this way, as I've mentioned before, so I don't plan to take it for granted at all. Again, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I would love it if you would join this little community I have growing here on YouTube. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and share it with anyone that you feel might enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye!